The Amazonian warrior tries to bring justice to an injustice world. Here's your look at the new Hiya toys. This is the Injustice 2 Wonder Woman. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale, featuring super articulation action figures from the folks over at Hiya Toys. Two things I'd like to accomplish in this part of this review. The first thing being thanking the folks over at Hiya Toys who were nice enough to send these samples my way. The second thing, and probably the thing you're used to seeing the most at this stage of the review, is me providing the service of telling you how tall these figures actually stand. So if I'm reading this tape measure correctly, and I think I am, then the figure stands about 4 inches. About your standard 3 3/4 inch figure. You'd probably have others of those in your collection, like G.I. Joes and stuff like that. Switching that to centimeters, then you're looking at the figure standing 10.2, a little over 10 centimeters tall. Hopefully these won't fall. Sometimes their feet are very small on these pieces. That's why display stands come quite in handy. But there she is next to the Flash, and here she is next to the Joker. This was the other figure that we had a look at not too long ago, actually. He seems to be the more difficult one to stand, but it kind of gives you a rough idea. Let's pick that up. Gives you a rough idea of how tall these figures stand from one another. They're all about the same height, roughly. Again, Joker's giving me some difficulty, but give you a rough idea. There it is. He's kind of crouched over, but there he is right there. There's 3 of the figures from this current wave of Exquisite Minis. As I said, display stands certainly could come in handy, and the Exquisite Mini of Wonder Woman does come with a display stand. It might seem rather familiar to you, because it is. Well, I don't know what's familiar to you, but I can tell you if it seems like you're experiencing a sense of deja vu, it's only for the sense that these are actually the exact same display stands that came with all the other Exquisite Minis. Right down to the color scheme, this metallic purple is a trademark for all the Injustice figures. Even like the previous wave of figures, by all means, check those reviews out if you'd like, have all come with this same display stand. The other thing that they all come included with as well is these eye brackets. So you just attach them on the one side. You probably already know where this is going. Attach it on the one side and then take one of the like stands, and it doesn't really matter whether you use the Alien stands, the Predator stands, or the Injustice stands. They all stand. I just said stand a whole lot of times. They all stand the exact same way or attach the same way. You just attach it like that, like that, like that. You probably don't need the sound effects though. So they're always like that. They do include these. They only have one peg. And again, I kind of wish that they would incorporate more than one peg to these stands. So if you wanted to display the figures in different places on their bases, that almost rhymed, you can certainly pull that off. Other accessories to come included with the figure, before we get to looking at the figure, she does come with her sword. The sword itself, from what I remember, seems pretty accurate to the one that she has in the game. A silver painted bladed sword with gold or a slightly lighter shade. Kind of looks like it's gold, kind of looks like it's silver. Against the backdrop of my finger's flesh, it does look like it's actually a light gold and not so much a silver. The hilt is also wrapped in brown. Just a really nice looking sword. Small, yes. Losable, yes. But still nice, yes. To go along with that, Wonder Woman also comes included with her shield. If you've seen Wonder Woman shield or one Captain America shield, you sort of know what to expect with these. They're going to slide onto her forearm. I'll do my best to show you guys that. And then you just put the fist on the other side. That's a bit the tricky part. The inside, or the interior, is done in almost a very dark gunmetal silver, like that. And then the outer band is done in gold. I don't know if it's actually the same gold. It seems like it's the same gold, maybe a lighter shade a little bit on the hilt. But we've got gold on the inner circle, so to speak, and then you've got triangles or diamonds. Those are diamonds, fellow reviewer. It does look like there's a bit of a wood grain happening on the surface of the shield. Just a really nice looking shield. Probably said shield about a dozen or so times. And then Wonder Woman comes with hands. Try my best not to lose them. These are actually hands that come immediately out of the packaging. Slightly uninteresting, unusable if you ask me. Closed fists. Unusable in the sense that if you wanted to display her with like the sword and the shield, I guess you could still pull the shield off end of it, but you certainly could not pull off the sword end of it with a pair of closed fists. That just isn't going to work. No matter what degree you have in the dark black magic arts, you just simply can't pull that off. It's not going to work. So what I did do, kind of in advance, before we kind of got knee deep into this review, I'm just going to move the stand out of the way, is that I already took the liberty, don't mind hopefully if I did, and I changed the hands out from closed fists to the open hands, or the gripping hands. This is ideal for if you want to display the figure with the sword. So if you want to take the sword, you just go ahead and fit that in between her fingers and her palm. There you go. It's just like human hands, just a little bit smaller, and you can have her wielding the sword. To pull off the same effect, you can do the exact same thing with the shield, although the problem I have, let me just tell you what my problem is. You take the shield, you obviously slide the forearms in between that, and then you can do your best to take the hand, and this hand is the smallest, so it would be the easiest to fit on there, and you have to wiggle it onto, try not to lose it, just wiggle it onto that ball joint. It's not the easiest of accomplishments. If you sort of want to cheat, I mean, if you turn the shield inward, no one is really going to know. I'm not going to know. You're not going to know. Well, you are going to know because I just told you. You're not going to know that the hand is completely missing. Sort of a bit of a cheat. But if you turn the hand inward, or there we go. If you turn the shield inward, you're never going to know. No one's going to be none the wiser. So I'm just to end up doing that. Because the last thing I certainly want to do, I've stressed this enough times in these reviews of these Exquisite minis. The figures are really cool looking. The downside, though, is all the accessories, as you could probably guess it, are extremely small and easy to lose. I'm still looking for the crowbar of Joker. And it's going to turn up sooner or later. Hopefully it'll turn up before the cats get to it. But the accessories are extremely small. Nonetheless, let's have a look at Wonder Woman. Quite the wonder, if you ask me. The fact, and keeping in mind that this figure is 3 3/4 inches in height, you can mark that down if you want, if you feel like you're going to forget that. The detailing on the faces are actually quite good. I feel as if the Hiya Toy brand, as they are releasing more of the Exquisite minis over the lines and over the years, I feel like the head portraits have gotten marginally better. I feel like this is a better looking head sculpt as perhaps, say, some of the earlier ones, like the Harley Quinn, I think, was one of the weakest of the Exquisite mini face portraits. I'm pretty happy with this particular one. My only critique I could probably give is the fact that her hair seems awfully flat. Very close. If they could have only just filled that out, filled that forward a little bit. It seems like it's awfully pressed against her head. Other than that, though, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. The eyes are extremely bright blue. You can see that they painted in the mouth. Again, that's small. Like there's my thumb right there, and there is the head of Exquisite Mini Wonder Woman. I suppose I don't have to keep calling her Exquisite Mini Wonder Woman, but you get the idea. There's the hair all the way around. There's no real additional paint that's been added to it. It's simply just relying on the base color of black. It is at least a softer plastic, so it does allow for a little bit of extra give when you want to rotate the head all the way around. There's not restricting too much when it comes to the hair, because the hair is, like I said, a softer plastic. The body is, again, a very muscular-looking Wonder Woman. The costume that she's wearing is very reminiscent of the costume that she has in Injustice 2. One of the more acceptable costumes. Wardrobes, if you will, from Injustice 2. I've been really on the fence, and I've noted it over the years that I've been looking at various Injustice characters. Some of the designs of the costumes didn't fall too well with me. The Wonder Woman one actually worked quite decently because it could be something I would imagine Wonder Woman sporting, and not simply just the game developers going really crazy with their designs. She does have the bodice top torso section done in a very muted red. You can see it's got some bands and stripes of gold. I like that. And even like the texturing. I don't know if you can see it or not. They've added these little cross hatches on the mid-torso section. It's different than the sculpting on the top there. Much smoother in comparison. As we move down on the body here, you can see that she does have her silver gauntlets on her forearms. The lasso of truth, once again, very securely. I say that with some hesitation. The lasso doesn't seem like it's completely attached. Maybe banging or pulling it in any way would likely tear that quite quickly off. But for the time being, it seems in place. I'm not going to fuss around with it too much for the risk that it may pop off. But at least that you can see it's got some braiding done to it. And I like the choice of the darker gold. Usually most lassos of truth, they tend to go light gold. I'm glad that Hiya Toys decided to go dark gold instead. Alternating colors of the dark blue and this sort of aquamarine blue, you can see are striped across her pant legs. That same familiar red that we saw up at the top of the torso. She does have coloring on the undersides of her feet via what seems to be like a dark brown color. And she's got banding of gold right around the tops of her boots as well. Proportionally, like, she looks like a good scaled Wonder Woman, smaller. Sometimes the risk of shrinking things down to a smaller scale is proportionately, sometimes they look jarring. I think Wonder Woman proportionally looks good from the torso to her legs. The legs are of a good length to the rest of her body, and it doesn't look like she has very long arms, which is sometimes one of the downsides of going to a 3 3/4 inch market, is that the arms sometimes end up looking like gorilla arms, and that's not necessarily the case here with Wonder Woman. Let's have a look at her articulation. Her head rotates all the way around. It hinges up and down. She has lots of availability when it comes to not only the dating world, but I don't know if you would want to date Wonder Woman. She'd break you in half. But she definitely has a lot of availability when it comes to moving her head around as well, just because, again, she uses the softer plastic in her hair. The upper torso is on a ball joint. It doesn't give you a whole lot of clearance, though. I mean, as you are rotating it, it does seem like it really wants to get stuck onto other things, like maybe this section right here. It butts up against that and immediately tells you no more. It doesn't go any further than that. It moves up and down, but not by a whole lot, though. The arms, at least, get a much more broader range of motion than the torso does. You can move those arms at about a 90 degree, even further beyond that. If she wants to do the hip hip hooray, you can pull off the hip hip hooray with the amount of hinging that the arms will allow you. The arms move forward and back. You can rotate them all the way around. She does have a bend at the elbow. Rotate the forearm, and you can rotate the hands. Just be very careful when you are rotating them. It's happened to me on a good dozen or so times. The hand sometimes results in having the hands coming loose from their ball joints. You can kind of already see the very hair slight edged off that it is from the rest of the ball joint. Turning it too much, I just feel like that hand is going to pop right off. And again, I don't want to lose that. Let's just fix Diana's hair. Her hair, there we go, got stuck behind her shoulders. Her legs split out. That's as far as you're going to really get from it. It moves forward, it moves back. She has a swivel on the 3/4 cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee. And while she doesn't have any articulation in the feet, because it's just a continuation of her calf from the leg here, she does have articulation or posability, if you prefer the term posability more so. And you can also rock the ankle back and forth. So you get a good range of movement and motion from Wonder Woman. And again, just really happy with this particular figure. I think of the female variety of Exquisite minis, this might be my personal favorite. To be fair, though, we really don't have a lot, if the list was looked at, of male to female figures from what Hiya Toys have released. The males certainly would outweigh and outnumber the females, so there's a very small list to go by when it comes to those releases. But I think of the female figures released, Wonder Woman might be one of the best, if not the best. Because the Exquisite minis possess also much needed posability, it means that you can pull off more dynamic poses than the basic ho-hum museum, standing straight and I'm not really doing anything other than waiting for a bus pose. Case in point here in Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, the wide stance also suffers a bit because with Wonder Woman here, and usually most of the Exquisite minis, the placement of the peg at a talking point I mentioned in previous reviews, where they put the peg results a lot of times in cases like here with Wonder Woman, poor Diana's leg is draping off the edge of the world. or at least the edge of the display stand. This can be rectified if you have more than one Exquisite Mini, and the benefit and the selling point of this line is the fact that you can connect multiple stands together. Not only does it then mean that Diane's leg isn't going to be draping off the edge like this, but it also does build up a larger diorama for a potential battle between the many combatants of Injustice 2. Injustice 2, as it goes, the Hiya Toys brand have really only approached, if you will, and we'll go attack, has attacked, I think, only the primary skins. One of the benefits of Injustice 2, and I didn't play Injustice 2 as much as Injustice 1, but I like the fact that you could get alternate skins. I hope, maybe with Injustice 2 being a success with Hiya Toys, and hopefully, I'm imagining it's doing well for the toy company, considering this is like the second or third wave that we've gotten. Maybe they'll also release, or potentially release, alternate skin versions of these characters. I liked Wonder Woman. I liked Flash. Didn't like Batman. So I'd like to see, for future releases, maybe we get alternate skins of some of these characters. Just maybe a possible, hopeful, wishful thinking on my part. But I do like this one. Wonder Woman was one of my favorite designed female characters in the Injustice 2 game, and it translates well to an Injustice 3 3/4 inch scale. While other companies are going the scope of 6-inch, 7-inch, and taller scaled figures, I like that there's still a company like Hiya Toys producing 3 3/4 inch for people like myself who grew up with G.I. Joes and like smaller posable figures. And I'm all about smaller posable figures. I like my big scale figures, but every once in a while it's nice to display these smaller posable figures, and it's nice to see a company like Hiya Toys producing something for collectors like myself. If you are a big fan of these, they should be hitting store shelves right now. A big thank you to the folks over at Hiya Toys for supplying these samples my way. What do you guys think of the Injustice Exquisite 2, the Injustice 2 Wonder Woman? Let me know down below in the comments section. FYI, also, I did leave the hand off. You're probably noticing it right now. Yeah, it's just a stump. It's just a stump. It holds well, and you don't see it from the front. From the back, it's just a stump. But let me know your comments down below. I always like reading your comments down below. And if you are new to this channel or a longtime viewer, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Periodically, do yourself a service as well, a solid, and head on over to the homepage and see if there's any videos that you may have missed along the way. We're going to have a look at a whole bunch of new Exquisite Minis lined up. It's on my itinerary for 2020, or the Barbara Walters year. So that's going to be lining up, and so keep your peepers peeled for that, and stay tuned. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.